We're gathering for our Soul Shine series. I'm thrilled with the name change. I think it's very exciting and light because it is time for us to shine. So we have been focusing on our Merkabas, our energetic fields, the geometries in our energetic fields that help us connect to all that is. Why? Because this is key for us to embody the energy that's available, that's coming onto the planet for our growth and evolution, and to make our everyday lives easier. That's the bottom line. Not everybody has to be a healer for others, but we all are our own healers. And so to have a greater connection to the light of our own true nature is it naturally heals us. So we're going to talk about tonight, what are we in relation with? What do we have relation with? Do we have a good relation with our mind? Or does our mind torture us? Do we have a good relation with the people who live around us? Do we have a relation with spirit? Do we have a relation with our body? Whatever you focus on the most, because the mind will be what determines what you are in relation with or not in relationship with. It can be a deterrent, or it can be a great help in assisting you from opening that doorway from your mind into your heart. So I'm going to draw a little picture because I think it'll be fun and it'll help. But I will give myself as an example, because this is how I had to learn what it felt like and what it meant and how it's changed for me in my life. So in my, let's see, I'm going to mute everybody here. Okay. In my chart, in my astrology chart, for the last 2 years, I have been very much in relation with my soul's purpose. And this has actually given me freedom from the suffering that I had been experiencing, because things weren't the way I wanted them, or so I thought. And it's because I had a story of what my life was supposed to look like. And it wasn't this. So as soon as I realized that it was my mind that was not in relation with my soul's purpose because it was busy wanting other things, I surrendered the struggle to the universe. Mother, Father, God, all that is, divine will, God, Goddess, creation, God, Goddess, direction, call it what you want to. When I gave that struggle up of determining the course of my life in relation to what my body wanted and not my soul, as soon as I let that go, things got easy, like literally. Because my mind shifted to say, what happens if it's not all about these things in my life? What happens if it's not all about my relation to partying, my relation to friends, my relation to who I am as a female in this body in the town I live in? Okay. What happens if a lot of that could get influenced by who I am as a soul? I was creating from this platform instead of combining this platform with this platform, my divine line platform, right? So in my astrological chart, the last 2 years of my chart have been a setup in the universe where I've been very concerned about public needs. for example, my clients, very aligned with that. What do my clients need? Because once I realized it wasn't all about what my smaller will wanted in the planet, I rebounded way to the other way where I cared about what everybody else was doing. So I'm coming back into the center, and I'll share that a little bit too. But so for the last 2 years, it's how can I help my clients? Because this is my life's work, and I want to help meet people's needs. So my life went up and down, like good, bad, whether I liked it or not, in direct relationship to how well I felt I was fulfilling my clients' needs. And these next 2 years of my life in my astrological chart is about my hopes and dreams aligning with my soul's purpose to make the world a better place. So you can see how the scope of what I'm in relation with is now getting bigger. So I'm getting invited to step up and be a leader. So in order to do that, I've had to overcome a lot of, fears and self-judgments, and even more give up what I think it's supposed to look like and get divinely guided, because I am not writing this narrative at this point. I realize that, and I'm cool with that, because when I let it come through me, it's perfect. And it's the vibration of what comes through that will make each person feel they're hearing it specifically for them, including myself. So to be a leader, people will join me because I am authentic in that. My level of relation to that is extremely high. My level to relation of the big picture and how I am to show up as a spirit in a physical form, the big picture, is my priority. And that's why my one-on-one clients structure is changing, so I can be of more service without burnout. Okay, so I'll announce how those changes are going to be in a different time in a different format. But this is why when the Healy, this medical device that you can wear that emits frequencies to bring balance, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual balance, this is why when that crossed my path, I did not hesitate. I knew it was sent here from God, source, all that is, because my prayer has been for balance in the physical form. So I went from what I thought was healthy to carrying on in life, eating, drinking, doing what I wanted, and just really just partying, just having a good time on the planet. And I was very good at the spiritual work, but I did it because I don't know, nothing else had shown up. I knew it was a natural gift, but I had never really paid attention to how much easier and better it could get if my physical body started to get in alignment with the light coming in. So I had these splits within myself. So some of you might hear this and feel this in yourself, is where there's some part of you that's kind of off to the side, that's not really aligned with the core light, that you're in relation with, that has stepped you off and out of your center. So I am grateful for this to help my physical form in healing. And this is how I'm going to step up more, by sharing the information and the miracles that I have had with it, and the miracles it has on the human cells. So for the human cells to be happy, which means they are in good relation with themselves and their surroundings, there's a natural tension that will be in them. The tension in the inside will match the tension on the outside. Okay. And that way they are better able to have healthy boundaries against viruses, against bugs, I don't know, stuff we don't want, against energy that's not yours, right? So better communication with your body. So this internal part of the cell and the external part of the cell have a healthy tension. The tension being what keeps them to their best potential. See, now I'm going to relate this to us in the universe, as humans in the universe, this healthy tension, okay? Because there's these communications around the cell to everything in the body. And when the tension, they measure it in frequencies, gets to a certain level where it's not healthy anymore, that the cell can change its structure and then be vulnerable to outward influence that wouldn't necessarily be for its best potential. So when we get healthy tension, not only in our cell, it can hold more light. Ultimately, your light. And that's what we're talking about as this being on the planet. If we are sovereign and aligned with the healthy expression of ourselves, we are in relation with spirit. The spirit of who we are, and that ultimately connects to source. Okay, so if I keep that as my guiding light, my North Star, and I let it come all the way into my body, I'm actually having a better relationship with the universe. I am in better relation with the energy around me because I am primarily in relation with my own energy. And then that has a conversation with everybody and everything around me. So it's our minds that are the gateway to deciding if we're going to connect to our hearts, this toroidal field, this torus experience of the fifth dimensional heart. Our mind will decide how much it will limit, hinder, or allow that connection to drop down so that we can actually feel this toroidal field. So I've only had this experience 3 times in my life where I felt it. One was the other day because I wanted to feel it before this session so I could know what I'm talking about. And another was like 25 years ago, and another was 10 years ago, where I actually felt tactilely in my body the pulse, just like I was saying about the balance of the cell. I felt the pulse of my body as a being with the entirety of all that is around me, this pulse. I felt myself simultaneously in relation to the universe. And it was mind blowing. And it's truthfully the breadcrumbs I needed to keep me going on this path. To feel it so real in my body, my mind, and my energy field of I am everything, and yet I am an individual expression as well. I am the microcosm and the macrocosm, and just feeling and knowing it, it was like this, I think they call it the divine spark, where I was like, oh, okay, everything does make sense. And for those moments, because it doesn't last for long, right? if it lasts forever, we'd all be walking around in such bliss. None of us would actually ever get anything done. I mean, this is why enlightened beings and masters, they walk around in robes, and people help them in and out of the car, and they just tell them where to go, and they get them a nice pillow to sit on so they can talk to people, and they don't have to balance their checkbook or drive to Safeway, or deal with AT&T on the phone, like stuff that would so rip you out of the divine consciousness that you are, and like slam you into a frustrated human body having a not good time dealing with everything around you, right? So yeah, this is the balance of how do we walk in a human body and have an experience that a human's going to have and be divinely connected all the time. I've only had moments, but they have been the ones that have been the most sheer bliss in my life, because it's proof to me that everything I read and everything I study is true, and it is available to all of us all the time. So what we tend to do is let our minds rework and ruminate over past stuff, sorrows, bones of the past, chew, chew, chew on the bones. And they become these patterns of thinking that can become very destructive and total roadblocks of living in the heart. And when we ruminate over it and we are in relation to it and we're talking about it to others and we still tell the story over and over, which keeps it alive, tell the story, that keeps it alive. And you are, pulling people into your reality so that they can see what happened to you and talk about what happened to you and, go over what happened to you. And there is a very limited willingness to see it differently, or to see it from their shoes, or even consider forgiveness, or that there might be even a higher reason of its potential, or that it happened to help you learn a lesson, or that it was karma. Like, when we're in it, we're in it. But unfortunately, when we stay in it for a very long amount of time, it solidifies in our field. And then we no longer have this healthy tension of expanding and contraction, the microcosm, macrocosm existence. We get frozen in parts of our field, like the damaged cell, where the light's not coming in. And we triangulate these undesired events by going over and over it, and we actually create demons out of them. I have seen things in people's field that I thought were demons that were actually monsters from the darkness of the energy of all the time the story has been rehashed and you've gone through it, and the hurt and the frustration, and whether you're the victim or the perpetrator or whatever the story is, it getting unresolved causes these fissures in the aura, which we've talked about before. Long-standing unresolved issues cause fissuring in your aura, cracks, right? So that other time and space is bleeding through, maybe the source of it. But what happens when you have cracks and fissures in your aura is then you don't hold your light. See, the cell, when it gets too much virus, too much bacteria, electromagnetic energy, very harsh treatments to cure something, right? It might damage the cell. Or an existential moment in your life where it created so much trauma that your brain had no way to understand it, and then it becomes a biological solution. And that's what can activate a healthy cell into a damaged cell from that trauma. And so we're talking about the cells having a healthy inside and outside to them, and we as beings having a healthy inside and outside to us, even our brains, so that we can actually invite this energy to connect to our hearts, because we are not going to get to heaven through our head. We get through our hearts. And so these triangular events that we create are so 3D that we forget that the option to get out of it is the 5D. And so I wanted to do a, just because I can, because I just learned how to. Let's see, my screen, a whiteboard. All right, so if this is us on the planet, just cruising around here. Okay, and then we had this trauma. Let's see. I can't read that. Uno momento. Okay, so we had this trauma that happened in childhood that's here in our space. This is our space. This is our aura. And then we had this illness that left an impression in our field right here. That's what the illness looked like. And then we have this person that we have a disagreement with over here. Okay, that's what the energy looks like in our field with this person we're having a disagreement, long-standing. And then this back here is trauma from our genetic lineage that's vibrating in our field. It's actually having a direct relationship to something in our lower chakras. And then we have this cloud of energy that bothers us at work or our boss, and has a direct relation because we can't figure it out, so we think about it all the time. And then we got this fight that we had with that person, that misunderstanding here. We got this habit that we just can't get a hold of. This one right up close to us is a disagreement we had in the last couple of hours. This over here is a big worry of what the future is going to look like. There you go. That's blocking a lot of energy. This is what we're in relation with, the stuff that's in our space. So the more that you keep picking this up and dealing with it, or talking about it, or interacting with it, or telling the story again, or worrying at night about it, or have chronic blah blah pain, or so much fear of the future that has literally created a block in our aura. This is what we are in relation with. This is the 3D world of what we are in relation with. Now, if we don't balance this out with our relation with all that is, God, Goddess, our soul, our higher purpose on life, which is the vertical energy coming through us, if we don't balance that with this external experience we're having in the 3D world, we will never get the potential of living in our heart chakra. It's the balance. It's the balance of the two. It's the balance in the desire to belong and interact with this 3D world because we're humans, balanced with the desire to become all that we are. The real reason why we are on the planet, to live in the fulcrum of the two, is to live in the heart. That is when we will start living in this toroidal field of our heart. Does that make sense? If anyone wants to put that in the chat, that'd be great, because it's I haven't talked about it a lot. It's a little abstract, and I'm trying to make it real easy to understand. Okay, good. So there's some resonance with it. Okay, so let's get in relation with this, divine intersection, our 3D world and all the stuff going on with it. But to get the clarity, the answers, the freedom to it, we want to anchor in this core line of light, right? This core line of light, to bring it into balance. Why? So we can live in the heart, so that we can live in the heart. And it's those moments that I was talking about that I've had where I was like, whoa, where I felt this perfect flux within myself and the cosmos, that I was breathing at one with a tree, an angel, my neighbor, all that is. This is really good stuff, man. Okay, so let's start by pulling now us together to get ready to do a clearing, and then we'll go inside and we'll get our individual healings, or your your sacred time that you get to go inside and say hello to yourself. So we gather in sacred space to receive group healings, because this is what we're called to do right now. This is the best way that like-minded people can get together, call in spirit in a sacred container with someone who dedicates their life to it. That's me, right? So Even though I am not doing the healing, I am creating the space to do it. It wouldn't happen if you all didn't show up. So you are co-creators in this experience, right? But my relation to it is extremely high. It is a priority. And that's why you show up, because you feel that. And I'm honored and I'm grateful. So we are trying to evolve the consciousness of our being to become in a body aware of who we truly are and why we came to the planet. We want to shift and heal and integrate these parts that we have been in relation to that takes us away from our light. And we are not only healing our own shadow parts, but we're healing collective shadow. This is big, dark energy on the planet. It is the opposite of life force energy, right? Star Wars, let the force be with you. The force of the light. Why? Because there's evil at play. We realize this, right? And it's not who or what you think it is. It's way bigger. But as a collective in this group that we identify with each other, resonating with and aligning with love, we are addressing this evil, this darkness, this shadow, not just in ourselves, but on the planet and as a collective. So as we increase this connection to our soul, as we heal these shadow places, we increase our connection to our soul, right? And we actually incarnate more. And how's that useful? So we can manifest on the planet what we really do want. From a place in our being, not from our ego self. See, this is what my struggle was. My world, what I was experiencing wasn't matching my daydream of what I wanted, because I wasn't coming from an integrated brain. I just wanted what I wanted because that's how I grew up and saw everybody, blah, 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 blah. So as our souls move into our bodies to a higher degree, we increase our light quotient that ripples out to the universe. And then the universe starts to see, what did this person come for? Oh, and they're open to connecting to this line of light. And they're willing to see things from not just the left side of their brain, the linear brain. They're willing to see things from their intuitive right side of their brain. So this is why, as we gather as a group who is willing to experience this, the healing is exponential. We are going to all be the proof of this. This is cutting edge spiritual growth done in a group, okay? That helps our egos not be distracted. And Spirit reminds me all the time that this is having a much larger impact than we even know. And I only get little crumbs, for each time to be able to share.